Alright, today's lesson is on using TVM solver to calculate compound interest situations. In this topic, financial models, if the question mentions simple or flat rate, you are using that formula there, which we practiced last lesson. Okay, so no, the lesson before your test. However, if the question mentions compounding, you are dealing with compound interest. This is where any interest adds on to the original principal, so the interest is constantly growing. In previous years, you would have used this formula. I taught a lot of you in year 11. You would have hammered that formula. But this year, we're going to use TVM solve for everything. If it says compound interest, you're going to use this same app over and over again. You need to try to get fast with it. Because if you are fast with it, then it's no issue, okay? So how do you access TVM solver on the calculator? You press this, yeah? Good time to switch back to my desktop. You press apps, you select one finance, you select one TVM solver. So whereabouts is the app button? There in purple, apps, select one finance, select one TVM solver. That is TVM solver. If anyone's OCD like me, if you want to start the app fresh, that's the defaults, 0, 0, 0, 1, and 1 at the bottom. Because you've been doing you're going to be doing multiple questions, you're going to have numbers to start off with. But if you want to start the question off fresh, 0 everything, except the bottom 2, which is 1 and 1, okay? So that's how you access TVM solver. So then when I pressed one TVM solver, you get this window. It is very important that that appears on your cheat sheet, or you try to remember as much of that as possible, because this is how the app works. N is the total number of payment or compounding periods. It is determined by whatever the number of payments per year are. I% is the interest rate as a percentage. You do not need to convert. So if it says 5%, you just put 5 there. You don't have to go 0.05. PV is the principal that you're investing or borrowing. PMT is the regular payment. In year 11, we completely ignored PMT. So SACE decided that year 12 level is, we're handling payments. FV is the future value of the investment or the loan. PY is the number of payments per year. CY is the compounding periods per year. These will stay the same unless the question says payment and compounding frequency are different. I can tell you now, SACE has told us they will always be the same, but this may be the only or the most useful maths that you do in this year, because you can use it on your actual home loan. You can use it on your interest earning accounts at the bank. And because that's the case, do you always have to pay the bank every month? Can you pay them more often than that? The bank always compounds once a month, so that's always going to be 12, but you can pay the bank more often. I get paid every 2 weeks, every fortnight. So my PY is going to be different to my CY, right? In real life. For your questions at year 12, they're always going to be the same. I think that's a cop-out, but I'm not in charge, okay? I'd rather that you know they can be different. This PMT stays on end. You don't need to worry about that. We used to have to change that. PMT stays on end. And when using TVM solver, you're working out is that screen. So please do not just tell me the answer. You need to write, you're working out for TVM solver questions, N equals whatever you put in. I equals whatever you put in. You put a star next to the item that you're trying to find and then write an answer statement. I expect to see that. If I've told you to do that, and my examples all show you that my working out is TVM solver, you write that out. That's what I expect to see, okay? Some stuff to add on how to use TVM solver. How do I use TVM solver? I enter all the known variables from the question. I select the variable that I'm trying to find and I press alpha and then enter. Why do I press alpha and enter? That'll be on YouTube. What does it say on top of enter in green? Solve. What do you see the button in green is? alpha. So if I want to solve for something in TVM solver, I need to access the green function over enter. So I press alpha, and I press enter straight after. Okay, so if I wanted to find the payments, I would highlight that after I put everything else in and press alpha enter, it tells me the payments. Okay, so get that down. The other thing to add is, just let me check that it's on the screen. The other thing to add is the sign, the negative or the positive of PV, PMT, and FV is based on the direction the money is moving. If I'm putting money away from myself, if it's going into the bank, the sign on TVM solver will be negative. So I do encourage a lot of people on their cheat sheet, you can literally draw this, but that's the most obvious way of going, look, if the money is going away from me, the sign has to be negative for PV, PMT, FV. If the money is coming to me, the sign is positive. That does make a difference to your answers. Lastly, to find the interest on an investment, you use this formula here. So, might I suggest that you get that down. I'm going to check my camera alignment for YouTube, and then we'll do an example together. I'll put stars over cheat sheet stuff, I reckon, in this. But how TVM solver works, all of that. Although on the other hand, if you practice enough, you just remember it every time. Is anyone still getting board 2 down? The one with all the TVM? Anyone there? This will be recorded anyway. So. If you have got this down, start thinking about what you would enter into your TVM solver for this question. Cameron investing some money. I'm going to shift this over out of the camera, but so you can still see it. So that we can see TVM solver at work. Cameron invests $23,000 in an account. What's important about that? The Cameron part or the 23,000? Paying 3.45% per annum. Compounding. So as soon as it says compounding, I'm using TVM solver. It's compounding quarterly for 6 years. How much is the investment worth at the end? So what I mean by getting confident and fast at using TVM solver, as soon as you see a compound interest question, you're immediately going to start writing N, I, PV, PMT, FV. And because I've already told you for year 12, SACE level, PY and CY will remain the same, they've told us that, you can just write that both of them are going to be the same. So how does TVM solver work? I put in the things that I know. Let's leave N for now. I, do I know the interest rate straight up? I don't need to convert, I just put 3.45. What's the initial investment? What did he put in? Because it's going from him into the bank, what sign should it be? It should be negative 23,000. Does this say anything that he's making regular payments into the account? He's just letting 23,000 sit there for 6 years. So 0 payments. FV, how much is the investment worth at the end? Well, FV is what it's going to be worth at the end. That's the final value of what the investment's going to be. If something is compounding quarterly, how many times is that happening a year? 4 times. Why do I leave N till last? Because you need to do some maths to work that out. In the screen that I told you what N stands for, it depends on what PY is. So if something's happening 4 times a year, and it lasted for 6 years, how many times has that happened? 24 times 6, okay? Now, it's actually quite convenient for you because TVM Solver lets you do maths in there. You can go 4 times by 6. See how I did 24? You can do math in the variable section. 3.45 is the interest rate. When you are doing negative, anyone that does programming, there's a difference between this sign and that sign. This is a take sign. This is what indicates that something is negative. So if you accidentally try to make PV negative using take, your calculator says syntax error. It doesn't know what you're talking about. If you want to say negative, you use this button, okay? So I'll go negative 23,000. That's what he's putting into the bank. Why is it negative? Because it's coming from him going into the bank. No payments. FV is what I'm looking for. PY and CY. Look at this. If I press enter on PY, it's going to try to make CY exactly the same. Look, I'm not a liar. Press enter. See, it made them both the same. So even the calculator wants them to be the same. In real life, they're not necessarily the same. In year 12, they will be. So now, I'll highlight the thing that I want to find. What do I press to solve? Alpha and enter. So that's telling me in those 6 years, that money is going to grow to $28,264.50, rounded to 2 decimal points. So therefore grows to $28,264.50. B, how much interest does the bank pay Cameron? There's one way to work it out, is that formula that I gave you, that you can think about it. Interest is going to be, did his money grow? So what did it grow to? $28,264.50. Take away what he put in the first place and over time. What did he put in the first place? He chucked in 23,000. Did he make any payments though? Because that would have been other stuff that he paid. So it's just going to be that. So it's going to be $5,264.50 in interest. I'll give you a couple of minutes to get that down, and I'll do one other example. That's using TVM Solver. Now for people that don't have a calculator, I've got some calculators on Daymap linked for you. So you'd use that, yeah? But for your actual test and the exam, you have to use a real one, okay? What I'll do is move this over because that's been on the video now. You can see it. For people that are ready, have a look at this one. We're finding something else. maybe try chucking that into your TVM, see if you get the same working out as me. You know what? Right, just quickly do this for the sake of the video. Shreya's investing $15,000 into an account at 3.8%, compounding half yearly. How long does she need to invest for it to grow to $20,000? Are we finding FV now? No. We're told FV. We want it to grow up to this. Which of these variables is the closest to telling you how long something took? N is the closest, because it tells you how many compounding periods there were. So, once again, as soon as I saw this, I'm immediately writing N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, and CY. What do I know? Straight up. What's the interest rate?
3.8.
No need to convert. How much did she invest in the first place? 15,000. What sign would that be if it's in the bank? Negative 15,000. Does it say anything about making regular payments into this? So she's putting money in and just leaving it alone. It's going to grow by itself. Well, interest from the bank. Half yearly. Something's compounding half yearly. How many times does half of a year happen in a year? Huh? 2. And now that I know what PY and CY is, they're both 2. How many years has she... Oh no, I haven't said. Well, that's on YouTube as well. Let's do it for 5 years. Half yearly for 5 years. If she was investing it for 5... Oh no, we're working out how long. There's a mistake. That's on YouTube as well. How long does she need to invest it for to grow to 20 grand? What do I want it to grow to? 20,000. See what I mean by the tests being hard to do? Because if you stuff it up, you have to start over. There's no starting over here. So what's the only thing that I don't know? N. So I solve for that. 3.8 negative 15 grand. No payments. It grows to 20,000. It only compounds twice a year. So if I solve for N, I get 15.28, rounded to 2 decimal points. Now my question to you, is that saying it's 15.28 years that it'll take?
No,
It's 15.28 half years. Because N depends on what PY is. So therefore, 15.28 divided by 2 equals, if you want to be like a hacker or something, you can do it in your TVM solver, but I suggest you go second quit to go back to the calculator. 15.28 divided by 2 is going to take 7.64 years to grow to 20,000. B, how much interest does she make over that time? What did it grow to? Take, what did she put in? Did she make any payments there? So that one's the easy one, part three. Basically, she's working out how long is it going to take me to grow my money to 5,000? 5,000 in interest. To generate 5,000 that I didn't have before. Okay? I can't express how much getting faster TVM solver is important to this. Because from now until the end of your DI, can you confirm to me that it's all TVM solver? You don't need to say yes. If you get it, it's this, okay? And you just need to deal with different situations, right? All right, what I suggest you do for homework, you are skipping a couple. On your timeline, it says 7B1, 7B2, cancel that. I'm being decisive. We're not doing we're not doing the formula. We are doing TVM solver. Start from 7B.3, but you'll find there's only it only asks you to do four to six questions, I think. So if you have time, it would be useful for you to practice some of the 7B1, 7B2, answer them with TVM solver. If you get the same answer as the back, I would say that you're growing confidence with it. You don't have to. I'm not forcing you to. I never force you to do anything anyway, all right? But that would be useful seeing as you're skipping over, okay? You don't need to do it by the formula, you use the calculator. All right, thank you.